Huh, there I am, apparently. Live. Yeah, surprised it works. Just checking, and such. So, yeah, I just have to find how to use the chat and the other crap again. So, while I do that, and such, and clean the board, you can chat something. Yeah, right. Yeah, if you could find the room. I didn't think this stuff still worked. I thought you had to use some other stuff, frankly. So there does look to be a bit of a delay, but I don't know if it matters. Let's see if there's some way to check whether the volume's actually recording properly. Stream health. Let me look at that. Oh, it's excellent. Good. All right. Let's see. It says the title is. Let me edit the title. Yeah, it's going to be a different title. So we'll change the date to something like this date. I don't know what it is exactly. 8 something or other. So we'll say 8-23 dash 25. Okay, fix that. And then we'll just call it the junk science of physics. Yeah, physics. Let's see, the junk science of physics. Junk science of physics. Yeah, that's good enough. PHYSIC. Seems like something's missing. Anyway, just who cares? All right, we'll save that. And the chat, it appears that it's showing, so maybe I don't have to do anything. You can open it in a new window, I think. Share. Add stream marker. I don't know what that is. Create highlight. No, I don't want to do that. Chat. Let's just see what happens if I type something. Me, T-A, talking. Yes, that's what it is. Me talking. Oh, nothing. So, I don't know. I have to be able to see the chat for me to deal with the chat, so we got to figure out how to fix that. Pop out dashboard. Alright, well, let's see what the hell that does. Ooh, that doesn't look good. No, I don't see any point in that. Well, it has views, so that's good. One viewer. It's probably me. Let's see. Concurrent viewers, 3. Well, that's weird. I don't know what the hell that means. Alright, well, I'm satisfied that did something. How to fix the chat. You used to be able to do a pop-out chat, but I don't see that anywhere. The stream's current bit rate is higher than the recommended bit rate. Yeah, okay, what do I do about that? Yeah, so I'm sending it at too good a quality? Ooh, I don't know, what's the penalty for that? Yeah, it's funny that they don't finish the statement. We recommend that you use the stream's bit rate of 1000. So it's at 2700. Alright, so I have to try to change the stream's bit rate. Oh, that's interesting. Let's see if I can do that. Alright, output. Let's see, source snapping now, projector, system tray now, importer, studio mode now, multi-view now. Alright, stream. Let's see. Doesn't offer me any bit rate options. Alright, so let's see what output does. Okay, video bit rate. Alright, so let's drop it to 1000. Yeah, 1050. Yeah, that'll work. All right. See if it does anything. Who knows? All right. So, yeah, I'll do some physics while I'm here and just see how this all works out. So you can hear me. If there's somebody there, chat something, and I'll see if I can view any of the chat, because it didn't post my chat. So whatever I chatted, it didn't appreciate his chat. Let's see. I'm going to try again. Just some random text. You must have to hit enter, right? There's no button. Yeah, no, nothing. Well, let me open this window in the full screen and see what happens. Alright, nothing different. So there's no options to change the chat. And let's see what options here. Expand menu. Let's see what that does. Pop out dashboard. We already did that. Oh, they're still complaining. I knocked the bit way down. They're still complaining. Yeah, well, the hell with that. Too silly. Manage. I wonder if manage does anything. Manage. This stream can be accessed again from the manage list. Exiting will not end the stream if it is currently live. Exiting will not end the stream if it is currently live. What the hell could that possibly mean? This stream can be accessed again from the manage list. How do I even say I don't want to do either one of these? Exiting will not end the stream if it is currently live. Well, what will canceling do? Oh, fuck. Exiting will not end the stream if it is currently live. Fuck. They don't give me any good choices here. I should have never hit that manage button. Yeah, so maybe I'll just leave it there. Oh, shit. What does that mean? I can't believe they don't have any option for the pop-up window thing. Yeah, nothing. Pop-out dashboard, but nothing for the comments. Channel level settings. What the hell could that mean? That didn't work. Okay. Pop-out dashboard doesn't work either. Oh, and it's frozen. Well, it looks frozen. Oh, it's not frozen. Well, damn it. Alright, well, I can reduce the size again. Maybe I can see the pop-out thing. Yeah, you can't see. This really is flunky software. Alright, I'll assume if somebody's in the room, there's 3 viewers. Well, I got to assume they must be hearing something. So it would be good if you could chat, but I can't edit the chat, which is really annoying. Alright, can't do it there. Can't gain any kind of preferences for a pop-out window. Nothing. If you can't view the chat, then what's the point, right, of doing a live room? So there would be no point. Yeah, so I won't bother with that. Oh, I can't get rid of this exit stream thing. Exit stream, question mark. This stream can be accessed again from the manage list. Exiting will not end the stream if it's currently... I'm just going to cancel that. Just hope it doesn't do anything. What the hell does that mean? It's just, yeah. It is such bullshit. Who thought of... I mean, you're just saying, who could possibly have written this crap? It's incomprehensible. Alright, so the stream health is excellent. The analytics say the same thing as the other crappy thing. Average view duration. 9 minutes, wow. Somebody's really desperate. Talk to me, please. Please. Let's see. Live reply once stream ends. I don't know what that means. Alright, well, it's actually working. I just don't know why, but it is. Okay. I mean, I haven't done this in years. I'm just surprised that the damn thing still works. And I can, it'd be a shittier quality video. And that's, yeah, so that'll be what he gains. The big gain is shittier video. Alright, so we'll do the obvious 1/2 mv squared. Okay, now that means, okay, that formula says that it takes 25 times the work or fuel or force or energy to make something, okay, go 5x velocity. So to get 5 times the velocity, you have to apply 25 times the watts of electricity, or gallons of gasoline, or joules of force, or I guess joules of energy also. But you can't see that part anyway. And so this is absolute idiotic nonsense. And I think every single rational person, every physicist, every college student who's taken any engineering, any science courses at all, must agree this don't look right. This looks really wrong, wrong. Okay, it's as wrong as, you just turn the hose and make the water into a smaller stream and you're making free energy. You're quadrupling the joules of energy by, having the amount of water. And if I make it 1/4 of the 1/3 of the amount of water, I have now have 9 times the capacity to do work with the water. That I'm magically making more energy. You can't believe that, right? You 4 viewers, you don't actually believe this happens, right? You do understand it's impossible that it takes 25 times the fuel to go 5 times faster. And more specifically, to spin something 5 times as fast. So if I had a drill in my hand that, making it spin 1 revolution a second, and then I make it spin 2 revolutions a second, that would take 4 times the energy. And if I made it 3 revolutions a second, that would take 9 times the energy. If I made it 4 revolutions a second, that would take 16 times the energy. If I made 5 revolutions a second, just 5 times faster, it would take 25 times the electricity. You can't believe that's true. And so you must concede this isn't good theory. There's something wrong with the theory. There's something really queer and broken and unright about this if it means this. Because this is idiotic. You got to be able to understand this simple argument. And do any of you have anything called integrity? I mean, can any of you admit the simple truth that, yes, it doesn't make any sense? It doesn't happen in reality. It doesn't happen with cars. It doesn't happen with water wheels. It doesn't happen with turbines. It doesn't happen with any single frickin' thing on this planet. Nothing obeys this silly rule. Nothing. Where do you think this actually happens? Where? It doesn't happen anywhere. There's zero evidence that this happens. You can't go on the internet and find where they show it taking 25 times the work or 25 times the fuel to spin something 5 times as fast. You can't find that video because it doesn't ever happen on Earth or in the known universe. That doesn't happen. So why is this claimed to be the truth? This made-up sillyism. And it is silly, okay? I mean, to argue that, 4 pounds dropped 1 foot is the same energy as 1 pound dropped 4 feet in gravity, when the 1 pound only is in the gravity twice as long. If you're in the gravity twice as long, you can only get twice as bent. You can't get 4 times as bent. Twice the amount of time in a paint spray, you get twice the paint on you. You can't get more than twice the paint on you. You can't get 4 times the paint. And if you're in there, if you're in the paint 3 units of time, you can't possibly collect 9 units of paint. You're only in the paint spray 3 times longer. You can't have 9 times the paint on you. You can't understand how their physics, this argument is, it's not stupid, it's retarded. It is so imbecilically, irrationally nonsense. It is worse than a talking fish. This argument that this talking fish happens is ludicrous. There's nothing. It's a holy ghost. It's worse than a religious holy ghost. This is worse than a voodoo pendant. This is worse than the shark god. This is junk theory, because it doesn't happen. Ever. Ever. Ever, 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 ever. Alright. So, well, that was fun-ish. So, maybe I'll leave it at that and see if anything, no one's chatting. I mean, I need somebody to type something so I can see if it'll show. If it doesn't show, then, I don't know what to do about it, but I have to think of something. Because, I can't do interactions here, live. So I have to use some other room. That's the one I was looking for. Realistically, I was looking for the room where I can have somebody else in it. So I have to do some other YouTube thing for that. But anyway, it's interesting to see that this does still work. So we'll see what kind of video it is. And, obviously the chatters were of no value. But it might be, part of what YouTube does. I mean, YouTube doesn't allow me to comment on anybody else's videos with the Draft Science channel. And I can't see anybody else's channel when I'm signed in to the Draft Science channel. So they really are trying to just, block me out of any kind of functionality. And, it's really irritating. I mean, it's bad enough that it's so hard to find any honest people. And then you have these, self-interested, dishonest companies also trying to screw you. So, it's all quite tragic, living on Earth. Among, like I said, it's looking like, I would have never said the majority of people are fucking lying pieces of human garbage, but it's looking that way. That there really are so few people wearing a white hat trying to live an honest, decent life. So fucking few. Especially among scientists. This weaselly, shit-talking cowards. Despicable. That's all that can be said. Despicable. Alright, so I guess might as well call this a video, and maybe I'll try it again. We'll see what happens. So thank you to the 5 people that apparently did sit in the room, but they didn't chat anything. So maybe they tried and it didn't work. Because it's obviously not working for me either. And maybe somebody knows how to... I remember I used to do a pop-up window, for the chat, a pop-out window. And I guess they just don't let you do that anymore. And, because that used to work, I remember. But the chat should be viewable. It's sitting here right in front of me. But again, I typed and it didn't show it, so... It's part of the dysfunction of the my channel, I guess, is that I just can't see any chat. So it would make this room pretty much pointless. Yeah, that's right. If I can't see or access the chat, then I guess it's pretty much pointless. I wonder if I open the video itself. Well, I could try that in a private window. Yeah, I probably should have done this in a private window. Maybe that would have worked. Let's see what happens if I try to open my channel in a private window. Yeah, that might work. Well, I should be able to get to my channel from one of these stupid things. So, now I have to be signed in then. Alright, well, let me just see what happens if I just go to my channel. I'll try it the old-fashioned way. Let's see if YouTube will let me get there. Alright, there's an ad, but I can get to my channel. So let's see if my video's live. It does say a little red live under my icon. So that's looking pretty good. It says live here, so let me see what happens. 3 watching! Alright, let's see. So yeah, that's looking pretty good. I'm talking. It says live. Alright, so that part worked. There's live chat. Join the conversation. Okay, so yeah, there's no chat. So you people suck. You can't do any chatting at all. Let's see, all chat, live chat. Put that in. See, really, nobody could just have typed something. Gee, you people stink. You know, I can't type anything because I'm not signed in. That's funny. So not one of you, whatever, live people, you can't just type something in the chat. Come on. Do Gary a favor. Pop out chat. Yeah, there it is. So I can pop it out if I open the video, but I can't pop it out if I don't. Okay, let's see if I pop it out if it's any different. Yeah, I don't think so. Alright. So if I pop out the chat, I wonder, well, I could probably get rid of the video window then. So at least that would be better. I'm here. Oh, there we go. We got something. Okay. Boy, why is it down here at the bottom? Thank you. So I actually see that. Now let me see if I see it in the actual window where I'm broadcasting from, and then I'll know that works. And I won't have to open the damn thing. So, no, it doesn't show up. Okay, so at least we know I can't see the chat unless I open the video. Okay. And I have to open the video in a private window. And now the chat crashed. Where's the chat? No, it didn't crash. There it is. Okay. Alright, so thank you. I don't know what that is. Micra. Micra. Yeah, Micra, I guess. Anyway, thank you. Thank you. I really, really appreciate it. Yeah. I'm in your debt forever and ever. Well, probably I really shouldn't be. Yeah, it really wasn't that big a deal. Didn't ask that much of you. Yeah, so. But thank you. Yes, at least now I know how I can see the chat. So I open the streaming window, and then I go to a private window and go to my channel, open the streaming video, and then watch the chat there. Oh, it's just so stupid. YouTube's just such a fucking cunt. Excuse my less than polite use of the word. Sorry, but damn it. You really shouldn't be. These little harassments are everywhere. The world just sucks. See my mouse now. There's my mouse. I have to use one with a cord because the other damn thing doesn't fucking... Well, this computer... Well, it's a computer I got out of the garbage, so I really don't have a right to complain. Yeah, so the computer I pulled out of the garbage has a couple of little defects. No big deal. Alright, so I really just will get out of here now that I've done all I need to do. Reasonable test. And so maybe if I schedule one of these rooms, more people will show up. So, ugh. Yeah, I don't want to leave a post on my channel. And I can't guarantee anything. Yeah, so I don't know if I want to commit. Let's see, what's tomorrow? I don't know. Tomorrow at midnight? Yeah, so there's some chance that if you bothered to watch this whole video, you'll find out that tomorrow at midnight I might do this again. Alright. But it's only I'm not promising. It's just a possibility that I'll do it again. And if you have something you would like to say, then you could say it. But it's unlikely. Because you would just comment on the videos. What's the big deal? What's the big deal about this live crap? It's pretty much absolutely useless unless somebody else wants to talk also. See? What are your claims? Well, I mean, really. I'm sorry, but I mean, I have maybe 5,000 videos on this channel. Yeah. So, and it's pretty prominent, right? It says right here, draftphysics.com. Now, if you actually go to that website, okay, it has the 3 or 4 subjects right there. Gravity, the double slit, energy, and there's one other, whatever it is. Yeah, gravity. Oh yeah, charge, the really big one. I've simulated a perfectly simulated charge. So, I'm claiming that physics is really simple and physicists are really fucktards because they've taken the simplest. They've taken very simple things and made them falsely complicated. And none of it's necessary. Gravity's dirt simple. We're obviously falling into a differential. There's obviously more stuff pushing us from the outside than there is coming from the bottom of the earth. And if you just think about it for, a second, you can figure out, well, that sort of makes sense. And then they used for decades this argument about drag, that's why you can't have a particle theory of gravity, but I've already proven drag is irrelevant. You can't possibly create drag by moving faster into a collision. If I'm going to crash my car and I crash it here or I crash it 10 feet from here, it doesn't make any difference. Crashing sooner doesn't mean I crash more or I evaded, it doesn't change anything. So the force that was behind me still catches up. I can't change how much force is on that side of me by moving into it. I can only bang into it sooner. So if you understand that they're photons, and so there's photons coming from the light bulb, and if you understand, I can move into the light bulb and let the photons hit me sooner, but I can't hit more photons. The photons are inevitably going to hit me. Them hitting me sooner can't change anything. It's not more energy to be hit sooner. So it's just so obviously not an argument. But everything physics has done is just garbage. They're wrong about everything. There's no frickin' entanglement. There's no superposition. There's no singularities. It's all just garbage. And that's just really sad. Yeah, well, stumbling on channels is, a good thing. I'm glad, somebody... Look, YouTube isn't going to show my videos to anybody, so obviously I have to rely on stumblers. And you have to be interested in physics, unfortunately, because, that's the subject. And it's all subjects, it's all physics. I've researched extensively these subjects. And the fact is that most people who think they know something about physics really don't know shit about the actual history and what experiments were actually done. Because the physicists have lied and created all kinds of false impressions. I mean, they argue things that are so wrong, like Stern-Gerlach is an experiment where you manipulate silver atoms, and they think the experiment demonstrates that electrons are polarized. and that they have a moment, a magnetic moment. It's silver atoms. I mean, the experiment does not affect electrons. There's no free electrons in the experiment. It's not a free electron experiment. How can you make arguments about some property that electrons have by watching gigantic silver atoms fly? It's so deceptive. That they make these arguments that somehow you're correctly interpreting reality when you do something ridiculous, like say, well, by watching silver atoms, I know what properties electrons have. That's just nonsense. Oh, math, fuck that. No, I mean, math is just a shorthand. Math is like the shorthand, like secretaries used to do shorthand. Math is a shorthand for the model. So if you got your formulas are right, well then you've consolidated all the important features, put them into the mathematical relationship. And the whole argument here is, of course, 1/2 mv squared. Do you see it written here? Can you really understand what a v squared would actually be? Can you imagine a velocity cubed, a cube of velocity? How could you have a volume of velocity? It's not possible. A square of velocity? A cube of velocity? So right there, it's a nonsensical concept. So you're just saying, well, what good is math if they could sit there and do something that perverse? You can't possibly have a volume of velocity. It's a linear function. You have an amount, period. You can't play this game that there's that it has dimensionality, that you can have 3 dimensions of velocity. You can't. It's just terrible physics. So my expertise is being honest and rational. I mean, that's all you have to be, is honest and rational. Like I said, do I really need to prove this is nonsense? Oh, do I really need to say anything more? If I said to a kid, it takes 25 times the fuel to spin something 5 times as fast, would you think I was something other than a kid molester? I mean, obviously, why would I tell a kid something that wrong? It's not true. So why are you bringing up math? Do you think it takes 25 times the fuel to go 5 times as fast? Do you? Somewhere on Earth you think that actually happens? So you're just proving that, you don't really care about the truth here. Because all you should say is yeah, I agree. That looks really suspicious, because I've never seen anywhere in my life that it takes 25 times the fuel to make something go 5 times as fast. It takes 5 times the fuel. And if I spun the Hoover Dam turbines, the turbines at the Hoover Dam, or the turbines at Niagara Falls, if I turn them twice as fast, I'm going to get twice the electricity. If I turn them 3 times as fast, I'm going to get 3 times the electricity. I turn them 4 times as fast, I get 4 times the electricity, not 16 times. And if I spin them 5 times as fast, I'm going to get 5 times the electricity out of the turbine. So my question is, why do you think there should be any respect for a physics that says shit that's this wrong? And it's incredibly wrong. I brought up math because you have math on your stream. Haha. Well, I'm sorry. This is hardly complicated math, right? And the whole point I'm making is, obviously, I'm saying does not equal. Okay? Does not equal. Okay? 25 times the work does not equal 5 times the velocity. It equals 25 times the velocity. It's just so wrong. And the fact that nobody, and I mean nobody in the sense of 10 years I've been saying this, well, let's see, 5 years I've been saying this specific argument, and you can't get any motion. You can't get any audience to gravitate and say, yeah, that's right, wow, we really ought to harass a physicist and get him to explain this bullshit. Why are they claiming something we all know doesn't happen? Why are we believing a physics that claims something we all know doesn't happen? That's a valid question, right? And I've got to wonder what's wrong with all you people in the audience, because you're the failure here, right? I can't do anything other than make my videos. You're the ones that have to make things go viral, or suggest the channel to some physicist and harass them into responding. You're the ones that have to help. If you're not going to help, then it ain't going to happen. That's the simple truth. They're going to remain off the hook, and they're never going to have to explain why they're preaching absolute nonsense. Holy Ghost nonsense. It's so bad. It's so untrue. It's talking fish, retarded babble, and you shouldn't let them get away with it. It's irritating that science pretenders like Tyson, Cox, and I mention spaghettification, well, whatever, as if it is real instead of just being science fiction. Well, obviously, the only thing it could be spaghettified would have to be something insanely long. So if you have a really long string, it's going to get spaghettified. Okay, but obviously you can't have enough of a gradual, gradation in the gravity. And if something has that intense a gravity, obviously no material substance could survive the spaghettification. So the argument would be it wouldn't be spaghetti. It would break the atoms themselves. I mean, there's no way the atoms could stay together if the gravitational differential was that intense. So, the whole thing is silly. But that's not, it's a little bit of a subtle point against what they argue. I mean, you should get to the real point that they don't think gravity creates heat. So you have momentum, right? The huge amount of momentum that gravity creates, of the object actually falling into the earth. Then after it falls, it sits on the surface, and 100 kilograms produces 200 billion joules of pressure, energy, watts, into the earth in, say, an average lifetime of 100 years or, 80 years. 200 billion joules for every bag of 100 kilograms. So, you're talking about an insane amount of pressure being put on any big object in space. And obviously, the pressure just keeps getting greater and greater. The weight, the gravitational weight. And obviously it's heating the earth. And they don't even accept that. They make some dopey excuse like it's uranium. Well, uranium has a half-life of 10,000 years, so how exactly could it possibly be uranium that's been heating the earth for 4 billion years? The earth has been about the same temperature for at least 2 billion. So for 2 billion years, somehow even though the uranium is only half the amount every 10,000 years, somehow it produces the same amount of heat. I mean, obviously they haven't done any, nuclear power plant science, because that won't work. Oh, it's just so bad. What shape is the Earth? You're not going to say something stupid, are you? I mean, are you really going to waste time being a flat earther? I mean, you're really not going to do that, are you? Are you? You're just some stupid whack shit that came in here? Oh, God, disappointing. But this is the problem. The audience is, frankly, the YouTube community is a bunch of retarded kooks. Why would you think I was a flat earther? Where is have I said anything to indicate I believe in a flat earth, for fuck's sake? I mean, god damn, you can't figure out how you're being insanely unfair? I bring up the subject of energy. I point out that it doesn't, their fucking physics says it, okay? It says it directly. You must believe it takes 25 times the fuel to move something 5 times faster. It means that if you're in your car and you go from 10 miles an hour to 50 miles an hour, you are going to use 25 times the gasoline. That's what their fucking physics says, you fucking idiot. Do you believe that, you fucking asshole? And you're going to call me the flat earther? Call them the flat energiers, the moronic energiers, the fucking fable, the fucking Holy Ghost energy. That is a Holy Ghost bullshit theory. It's absolutely not true. There's not a single shred of evidence that it's ever taken 25 times the fuel to make anything move 5 times as fast, ever. And you're going to call me the science fake. Fuck you. What the fuck does that even mean? You think physicists are liars. I think they're fucking lying retards, okay? They're not just fucking liars. They're retarded liars. They're dumb as fucking bricks. Any asshole, all right, who can't figure out when somebody says to them, well, it takes 25 times the fuel to go 5 times as fast, and they believe it, they're an idiot. They obviously, I don't know, they can't chew gum and breathe at the same time. All right, so anyway, physicists are liar, you know. Though flat earther might track for you. What does that fucking even mean? I mean, should I block you now? I mean, this is all you have to contribute, you little motherfucking weasel, is your accusation that somehow I'm talking like a flat earther when regular physics is talking about how fucking goddamn photons are communicating with each other over billions of light years of distance. I'm the fucking whack job when they sell that shit to kids. Fuck you. Jesus. Fair cop you're not. Oh yeah, go right. You know, what the fuck are you going to figure out? I have a website. I've spent 10 years doing this physics. 10 fucking years. All right? Working my ass off to get real answers. All right? And if you took a little bit of time to just look at the fucking website and recognize that, okay, you're going to have to invest a little bit of time because I have to explain gravity, then I have to explain charge, and then I have to explain what energy really is. You're not willing to invest any time. Oh, only hang up. So fuck you in the ass. All right, you're done here. God damn, what an asshole. Obviously, all these subjects are on my channel. They're all on the website. And then you make this silly accusation that this is, oh, you're a one-hit wonder. Oh, you don't have anything to say. Oh, you're no, that's not true, you lying piece of crap. Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't believe I can do a damn thing about you at the moment. So I won't. Yeah, I can't do anything about the chatters. So that's a problem. You're not being able to view the chat in my channel, on my channel. Maybe if I view the video not as a private video. Yeah, that's right, but the chat won't show up. Well, I could try it, I suppose. What do I have to lose? Oh, no, I don't even want to bother. I'll do it next time. Oh, what do you mean? So everybody in the audience, he's not accusing me. He implied I have something in common with flat earthers, okay? And then he's been trying to keep defending it because somehow I'm saying something wacky when I just made it clear that, well, 1/2 mv squared has this implication of stating this impossible truth that doesn't happen. And we all know it doesn't happen. And so instead of just admitting that he agrees, he doesn't think it takes 25 times the fuel to go 5 times as fast either. That he doesn't really think that if I just turn the nozzle on a water hose, I can make free energy. You know, that I make the water come out 1/3 as fast and I got 9 times more energy coming out of the hose. Yeah. Do you really believe that? I don't, why, we'd still be using water wheels if all we had to do was spin them 3 times as fast to get 9 times the energy. We wouldn't need nuclear power plants. All right, well, I'm done doing this. You don't know anything about me. You have to try to know something. You're not going to know something, doing this chat in a fucking video when you don't want to deal with the actual subject. The actual subject is, do you think 1/2 mv squared is plausible truth? Okay? Is this a plausible truth that this equals energy? That anytime I just make something lighter and move faster, the same momentum. So I just take the same momentum and I just convert it into a lighter object, and I can quadratically increase energy. You think that actually happens? Just tell me that. You think that actually happens? That it takes 25 times the fuel to go 5 times as fast. Just say the words. Out yourself as the retard. I mean, I don't know anything about you either. But if you tell me you think it takes 25 times the fuel, you believe there's some plausible reality, that somewhere it is plausible to argue that it takes 25 times the fuel to move something 5 times as fast. If you think that's plausible, I'm going to say, I know everything I need to know about you. You're retarded. Because there's no evidence anywhere on this planet. A kid playing baseball knows better. Throwing bowling balls, you know better. And certainly driving a car, you know better. Using a power tool, you know better. I didn't say I didn't want interaction, right? Did I say anything to you people that I don't want interaction? I don't want to be called. I don't want to waste my time defending myself against some jackass who's going to imply I'm a flat earther. Fuck you. It's insulting. It's rude. It's shit. And I don't deserve it. They deserve it. They're the ones selling the Holy Ghost. They're the ones selling a religion and calling it a science. And you're going to interrogate me. I'm saying I can't think of you as a person of any integrity because you don't want to interrogate them. Yeah, it makes sense because I've worked on it, okay? Physicists haven't worked on it. They haven't, they say no particle model can explain. Well, they never tried to make a particle model explain. They never sat for 3 years drawing a picture and trying to say, how can I make this happen? How can I make this happen? How do I make the double slit pattern happen? How do I, why does a ball rolling twice the speed on a surface, why does it roll 4 times the distance? You have to spend time thinking about it. And when you think about it, you say, well, look, I can go across thin ice. I can slide across thin ice, right? Why does velocity make it possible for me to slide across the thin ice? Obviously, I weigh less, right? Per inch on the surface, I weigh less the faster I go across the ice. So, obviously, when a ball is rolling very fast, it's making less contact with the surface. It can't be pushed in the same depth because the gravity is weaker across that, it's less paint. The spray of gravity is weakened by the speed with which you travel through it. So obviously, something going twice as fast is going to have half the friction. Duh! Simple answer. But they, like I said, they didn't think through all this stuff. They haven't done any physics, okay? All they did was mathematics. They write this shit down on a formula, and all they try to do is memorize what formula they're supposed to use in what circumstance, and that's all they do. They don't have any other conceptual way of doing physics. They don't think of it as a model. They don't think of it as engineering. They don't even think of it, again, what is bent space? They actually believe this nonsense, that somehow a magical bent nothing, right, space is nothing, creates real motion in the universe. And then they'll argue to you, the universe is getting colder, there's an entropy problem, it's going to run out of energy. Well, you're constantly making free energy. Stuff is in space and it crashes into things that have mass with a velocity. That's energy. That's motion in the universe. You're creating motion in the universe. How could the universe be running out of motion when you're creating, billions and billions of joules of energy all the time? Every single gravitational body in space is generating huge amounts of energy from gravity. Well, you don't understand that for a scientist, asking me if I'm a flat earther is the same thing as asking me if I was a regular citizen, if I'm a child molester or something. It's automatically insulting. You don't understand that? I have to explain that to you also. Besides the physics, I have to explain to you how it would be very much insulting to somebody who gives a shit about science or has any integrity as an honest human being to be called a flat earther, because we know every flat earther is a lying piece of shit. They're bigger liars than the religious kooks. They clearly don't believe the world is flat. You know it, I know it. Okay? They're just jerking people off. They feel empowered because they can goof on people. They can force people to, to make bad arguments and trip over their words or do something else, and it's all bullshit. Just like the whole 9/11 truthers, right? They were outed on everything. The science presented all the evidence, explained every one of their little conspiracies, and the next day they went out and just made the same arguments as if they weren't debunked. And the flat earthers are the same way. They've been thoroughly debunked. It's over. They're just liars now. Well, I'm obviously anti-science in the sense that I'm anti-bad theories. I mean, preposterously silly religious theories. This was invented by Leibniz. Okay, and Leibniz was a fanatical religious kook who actually tried to get Newton, like Galileo, he tried to get Newton under house arrest. He tried to get Newton kicked out of science. That's how much of a fanatic he was. He hated the idea of Newton selling his atheist theory of particulate physics. And he really hated Descartes. I mean, Descartes' argument that the energy constantly moves through the universe and there's no need for a God to interfere because the universe is already deterministic. It's already decided what's going to happen because all the energy's in motion and it's all cause and effect. So he absolutely hated Descartes. That's their physics. That's what physics is founded on, this religious kook. And then Bohr is just another religious kook, battling for his wooey atomic theory because he found the idea of, a physics we could understand as an obnoxious statement, that somehow God didn't make a universe that was much more magical than something a stupid human could conceive of. So he really thought the universe was beyond our understanding. And the only reason why you would believe that is because you had to be a religious kook. No, look, you want to keep defending your rudeness, go ahead. I don't give a fuck. Okay, you made this accusation that somehow anybody who's arguing against professional physicists is a flat earther. That was your implication. Because I'm arguing against a physicist, I therefore must be a flat earther. You did it in front of everybody. I don't want to keep arguing it. As far as I'm concerned, you will not make a useful contribution here, so you could just fuck off. Because you're really not interested in physics being fixed. You don't think there's a problem with your physics. You don't think it's full of talking fish. I'm telling you, it's full of talking fish. Let's see, slush pupples. Pupples? Pupples? I don't know. I'm willing to contribute money to any debate offer you get, even though it seems... Well, see, this is the thing. I could read you what I sent... what's his face? The shithead from Science Asylum. So I'll read you that email. I got no response so far. So he has me blocked on both my channels, so I couldn't comment on his channel. So I just posted an email. Well, anyway, sent him an email. It says, I posted a video response on my Draft Science channel. Okay, I gave him the link. If you can't be bothered watching that video, I have a 1-minute short that makes the basic point I'd like you to respond to. So I gave him the link to the 1-minute video explaining how gravity creates heat. In all seriousness, I'm willing to pay you to answer my questions. Can you provide something like a reasonable hourly rate for a live room discussion? And frankly, you know, he could say $1,000 and I'll pay it. That's, you know, I'm that desperate to get a real physicist on the hook that I would pay him $1,000 for 1 hour of his time. But these cowards won't do it because they can't. They can't do it. They can't put their reputation on the line because I'm going to make them look like idiots because they don't have answers to any of these points. They're not going to be able to explain how, well, yes, the bent geodesic creates real motion. And then the real motion turns into, somehow just disappears from the universe. so it's real energy in the universe, right? The meteor's crashing into the Earth. It's real energy crashing into the Earth. Then the particles of the meteor constantly apply a pressure for the rest of their existence on the Earth. So they could be applying that pressure over 1 billion years. And none of that creates any heat. I mean, it's an insipidly silly argument to make. It's not physics, okay? It's not science. It's ridiculous that they can't admit that gravity creates heat. Yeah, okay, if you don't claim to know any physics, it is true that you're not going to be very useful. I mean, frankly, I don't know how... I mean, you could understand the idea of the battlefield of ideas and that physicists shouldn't be cowards. You know, you should be able to say, honestly, right? If I tell you I have offered $4,000, okay, to 6 physicists who do videos on YouTube. I offered $2,000 to over 40 physics presenters on YouTube. I offer, no, 20. Yeah, sorry, because, you know, I want to get it straight. So these are channels that get maybe 50,000 views per video. And I offered them $2,000 to merely play one of my videos. They don't even have to respond to it. They just play it, a 5-minute video. Give me 5 minutes to talk to your audience and ask your audience, Mr. Physicist, to deal with these questions. And none of them will do it. For $2,000, just understand, $2,000 is a lot of money for a YouTube video. So you could at least say, okay, yeah, that's pretty impressive. You offered Thunderfoot $4,000 just to acknowledge your existence, and he wouldn't take the $4,000. I offered Veritasium $4,000 just to acknowledge my existence. Wouldn't take the money. I mean, it's, you know, it's just bullshit. I mean, you know, why, like I said, how could they have any defenders? How can anybody defend this bullshit, this absolute nonsense physics? When you know it's, again, how many times do I have to say it? You know it doesn't take 25 times the fuel to go 5 times as fast. You know it doesn't happen in your car, nothing even close. The fact is you'll use less than 5 times the fuel. So it'll be nowhere near 25 times the fuel and very close to less than 5 times the fuel. That will be the actual reality. You know it, I know it. So why are you defending a science that says this idiotic thing that never happens actually happens? That's their claim. It actually has been proven to happen. Our theory is right. This is the truth. It's obviously not the truth. All right. So you're willing to convey. Physicists are unwilling to defend their theories. Right. So they will not accept any challenge. Okay. So they will buffoon idiots. So they'll find retarded people on the internet to buffoon and make fun of. But they won't allow anybody to challenge them. So you can see, what is this? Wasn't Hofstadter also trying to argue against your model back in the day? Well, obviously, but so what? What does that mean? I mean, the fact is that Hofstadter brought up 1/2 mv squared. So he disagreed with me on a lot of other subjects. But on 1/2 mv squared, he actually did, in one of his videos, say, yeah, I don't get that. And he was a mathematician. So let's just understand his degree was in, was a math degree. And he conceded that, yeah, 1/2 mv squared doesn't really have a credible source. So he knew that much. But I don't know why you're bringing up, who's Hofstadter, right? Nobody knows who Hofstadter is. When did he become authority on anything? I mean, he obviously wasn't the very bright, because what did he end up getting killed by? His stupid pit bull. I mean, technically, the dog killed him. I mean, if you look at it, he probably wouldn't have committed suicide if he didn't get his arm chewed off and be in intense pain, and his life just got that much more miserable. I think if he was alive today, I'm fairly confident Hofstadter would concede. Because it's just, I've proven it so many ways. The lever argument, the balance, the ballistic pendulum, the water wheel, the water hose, let's see, where are all the other ones? Anyway, 12 different arguments against 1/2 mv squared. Obviously, the fact that they say, this is what they say you can do. You can have a 5 mass, okay, going 10 velocity. And then you can gracefully combine another 5 mass with it. And now you have a 10 mass going 5 velocity. And you've conserved 100% of the momentum. So 100% of the momentum has been conserved because you did it really gracefully. Now this experiment has been done. It's got to be 200, 300 videos on YouTube showing this experiment. And you conserve 99.9 almost % of the momentum. And their argument is that half the kinetic energy is gone. And their argument is that half the kinetic energy that's missing is somehow been dissipated as heat. So their argument is that I can conserve all of the momentum, and I can also make heat. So it's the same thing as saying I could roll a bowling ball into the pins, and I could knock all the pins down, and the ball still has all of its velocity. I mean, it's idiotic. You can't make heat somewhere and conserve your momentum. You can't have it both. You can't do it. It's not possible. So in the ballistic pendulum, the bullet goes in, and all you get is a tiny amount of the bullet's momentum. That's all the pendulum moves. But if the pendulum moved any more than that, then you'd have to believe that somehow you made free momentum. That somehow the bullet had more momentum than the bullet had. You get it? I mean, the proofs are absolute. You clearly can't use momentum. You can't have momentum in two different places. I can't make a piece fly off over here and keep all of my energy. I can't use my energy to shoot something. I can't. If I have 5 bullets and I shoot one of the bullets, I only have 4 bullets left. I can't have 5 bullets left. You can't understand a simple argument like that? All right. Maybe they won't debate. Let's see what he says. You because they think you will give you that they will give you credibility. Exactly. yeah. So isn't that insanely dishonest of them? Yeah, isn't that like criminally bad science? Scientists should be doing that. Scientists should be trying to keep other theories sequestered and hidden. Scientists should vote for the Inquisition. Yeah, here you are arguing. So is it legitimate for me to ask you, are you an Inquisitionist? Are you sympathetic to the Inquisition? I'll just say that it's not a dig in you just throwing out hypotheses that may have been considered. But, fuck you, or whatever. There's a point where I just stop reading your comments. Okay, so fine. Let's see. I remember being taught about the kinetic energy formula in middle school back in the 80s, but never really thought about how ridiculous it was until I first heard you mention it years ago. I didn't think of it. Again, Holiday brought it up. Holiday actually said these words like, I don't think the kinetic energy theorem is well grounded. And I thought about it, and I said, what the fuck's he talking about, right? And I looked it up, and I said, what, do you actually believe this shit? So I looked it up and saw 1/2 mv squared, and I said, what the fuck is that? What does that have to do with physics? That happened somewhere? I mean, I found it almost, it was laughable. It was so bad. And I'm saying, what the fuck? And so then I watched a physics girl video where she's defending this crap, and I said, oh, fuck, this is just too silly. And so we're off to the kinetic energy races. I mean, I was really trying to just figure out particle gravity and the double slit experiment. I didn't have any interest in this kinetic energy subject. And then, but all of a sudden I said, holy shit, this is the, the fucking, giant pile of bullshit in the China shop. I mean, obviously there's trouble in the China shop because there's a big pile of bullshit in here. I mean, something's going to get more broken because they have a big pile of crap right in the middle of their physics. And it's a big pile of crap. And so then I did the research and I found out about the de Chardolay experiment and the denting of the clay and how that was a big fake. And then I found out that Joule did all of his experiments by dropping weights in gravity. It won't work because the faster and slower you drop the weight, the more or less energy you put into objects. So that can't work. I mean, it's just simple. Look, physics actually says this is doing no work. Okay, I'm holding up something against gravity. I'm not doing any work. So that's really stupid. But they think that this, me slowly lifting this, is exactly the same amount of work as this. It doesn't matter how slowly I lift it. I could spend 10 years lifting this weight, and they'll say I did the same amount of work as if I did this. Obviously, that's idiotic. I have to explain how it's idiotic. I mean, it's obviously idiotic. You know it. I know it. If I told you to hold a 20-pound weight in your hand, you're going to know the longer you hold it, the more work you're going to be doing. No doubt about it. Yeah, whatever. I'm just saying, just saying. Why, I have to wonder about your motivation to bring up a guy who committed suicide in the middle of our argument, and then that means something. I mean, how the hell do I argue with a dead guy? But yeah, he was wrong. Okay, I could prove him wrong. I did prove him wrong. I did argue every one of his silly fucking arguments he made was crap. Well, whatever. I mean, this rhetoric, maybe because they know you'll speak to them like you spoke to me. Look, the fact is I have a 20-year history on the internet, and frankly, none of that history demonstrates any lack of respect I will provide a speaker in a conversation. So, that's just bullshit. The fact is they won't allow the conversation. And the one, like I said, you won't be able to show where I commit some horrible abuse of anybody in the conversation. So it's just a lie. So again, you just keep implying crap. I mean, look, I can point to every single one of these guys who, like Professor Dave, who does the flat earthers and such. Do you think they treat those people with any respect? So you just have a double standard. The scientists can disrespect people and mock them and abuse them, but other people can't treat scientists the same way. They must be treated with some sort of they're immune to those regular criticisms that people have. Jury-rigged cigarette isn't working very well. Gerrymandered or jury-rigged, or I never got that phrase right. Okay. Homemade crappy monstrosity. Just to ingest a little bit of $1 million nicotine. So where I live today, they actually passed an ordinance where nobody can smoke on any public space. So you can't smoke marijuana, cigarettes, or vape on any sidewalk, any public space at all in the town. It's just amazing. Oh, it's so fucktarded. It's just so evil how evil people have become. And these are all Democrats, lovely Democrats. Lovely little liberals. Fascist morons. Let's see, I appreciate you opening up the KE critique by doing the research, and vocally and velocity bias is not an energy boost it's just a claim. A velocity bias, I don't know exactly what you're saying there. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Well, it sort of does matter, but I'm just saying they don't look. The Eddington experiment, right? Einstein was given a New York Times headline. Einstein became famous because of the Eddington experiment. And Eddington, if you do the research, Eddington wrote in his own journal. He explained exactly how his experiment was going. And he pointed out how he was hoping to get 10,000 stars per glass slide. He only got 1,000. So he got 10% of the data he was hoping for. 10%! And he points out in the journal, yes, everything goes wrong. Everything went wrong. It was raining 5 minutes before the eclipse. It was actually raining. Okay, so you know there was a ton of moisture in the atmosphere, and the viewing had to be absolutely shitty. So, and he says, I wouldn't stake my life on these results. And clearly, that isn't part of the context, is it? No one of these physicists, when they bring up the Eddington experiment, do they say anything about that testimony in Eddington's own journal? So yeah, all you have to do is a little bit of research and you can find the truth. The truth is, it's a fake, phony, fraud experiment. 10% of the data quality. And we're talking about a really difficult experiment, so you just understand. This was a really difficult experiment to do. Okay, the margin of error is tiny. And he got 10% of the data. Now, you call that good physics, I call that the worst possible. You can't get any worse as science. That's good science. That's horrible science. And let's understand, from space, there's 400 times better seeing. That is, the telescope is automatically 400 times bigger. Automatically, just by going into space. 400 times better. And they never tried the experiment from space. You don't need an eclipse. The experiment takes 5 fucking minutes. And all you need is a mediocre camera. And they haven't even, we're supposed to believe, they haven't even tried the experiment from space. It's a $5 fucking experiment from space. At worst, I mean, if you were really extravagant and you said, well, it's going to, you could make it a $50,000 experiment. And you're going to tell me the most famous frickin' experiment in the history of science, pretty much, and they've never attempted to repeat it from space with 400 times better seeing. And you're telling me that's credible science. That's lie science, that's fake science, that's fraud science, that's absolute garbage as science. The having the mass doesn't mean anything. Okay, that's only done because a Newton is 1/10 of a kilogram, and so they, they have the 1/2 is in there just to make the joule number rational, so it doesn't get out of control, silly. So that's the reason why the half is there. But it's pretty much just a constant, so you could ignore it. Leibniz's original claim was there's no halves, but the half is only there because they're putting it in joules instead of newtons. More importantly, they're putting it in joules instead of foot-pounds, which Newton put it in. So Newton put energy in foot-pounds. But squaring the velocity, again, there's no rational way to understand what a square of velocity would be. It's not geometrically possible to have a square foot of velocity. You can't have a square of velocity. It's just not possible. It's a linear amount. It's a one-dimensional amount. It's like a square of a pound. A pound squared. You can't have a pound squared. A cube of pound. Oh, you should go on Joe Rogan. It's hilarious, right? I did offer Joe Rogan $4,000. So just to clear that up, I did ask to be invited, okay, on the show. Obviously wasn't invited, and I couldn't even buy my way onto the show. Some of these people, like I said, Veritasium, I even implied I could go higher. So I said, look, just give me the number. Just tell me what it would take for you to acknowledge these arguments. What's the number? And maybe I can raise the money. And they still, nothing. I mean, I don't even want to try, I'm the poorest person in this fucking town. I mean, if we had a competition for who has to live on the least money, I win. All right? And so it's a huge amount of money for me. I mean poor in terms of income. I don't mean poor in terms of piss all your money away and then be poor. I mean, obviously I'm not stupid enough to piss my money away on delivered food or some other kind of horse shit. Somehow all the other poor people can afford that. Somehow the other poor people can afford to smoke. Obviously I can't afford to smoke cigarettes anymore. I use AI, frankly, just because, yeah, it's convenient just to get an answer. So, the other day I needed a code to fix my audio on my computer, and it's Linux. So, you just tell Google, you say, what's the code to refresh Pulse Audio? And it gives you the code, so shit. Yeah, it's great. But I mean, asking it real questions like, go ahead. I did ask it what makes the Earth hot. And I read its answer in my video. Its answer was stupid. It's radiation, which is moronic because, like I said, even if it's uranium in the center of the Earth, uranium only has a 10,000 year half-life. So the uranium's going to be used up. We were talking about the Earth being the same temperature for 1 billion years. So uranium's not going to work. And then the other answer is even sillier, that somehow the Earth has stayed hot because it's somehow insulated. We can't make an insulator like that. We physically can't make a thermos and put something in space and it stays hot. We can't do that. Even with all our technology, we can't make that device. AI isn't AI, okay? It's not really artificial intelligence. It's just asshole intelligence. It's just Wikipedia on steroids. AI is Wikipedia on steroids. And like I said, the only value it has is that, with all the programming languages and all that kind of stuff, it's absolutely brilliant. Because it gets you to an answer quickly. But that's it. It's not smart in any way. It has no intelligence. It doesn't understand any of the words it's using. It knows nothing about what the words mean. It just knows what words are more likely to be followed by the next word. So if you have 4 words in your sentence, it's predicting what the next word would have been. But it doesn't understand any of the concepts. It's Grammarly on steroids. Mike, really? Back to the Future vibe, strange. I don't know what was the name of the guy in the movie, Mike or something? Maybe that's why you're, I don't know where you get that from, but whatever. 1.1 million gigawatts, maybe that's it. Yeah, wasn't it 1.1 million, something like that, gigawatts? And actually, like I said, a human being in their lifetime almost produces a gigawatt, right? Well, no, it's only they produce 200 billion joules. So, a person in their lifetime creates 200 billion joules of pressure into the Earth. 200 billion. Well, see, I'm a fair, reasonable person, and I'm going to assume my audience isn't complete moron, and I know I'm not allowed to do that. See, I think only a complete moron would think Patreon is a good idea. Now, it's bad enough that PayPal takes 3 or 4%, and now you just want to pay some other company 2 or 3%. So you just want to have some other company steal the money for no reason. There's no reason not to just put a donate button on your website, right? Why do you need Patreon? What is Patreon going to do for you? So, to me, this is like, oh, God, you got to be the lamest motherfucker that you have to use Patreon to figure out who to give money to? So I'm just assuming my audience isn't assholes. Now, apparently most people's audience is assholes, and so that's why Patreon works. Because they don't mind throwing the money down the toilet. They don't mind giving the fucking money to silly middlemen. You don't think there should be a Craigslist version of Patreon? You don't think like a non-profit charity could create Patreon. I mean, you could run the frickin' website for $59. I mean, it's really not doing anything. I mean, what the fuck? And you don't demand that. See, that's the problem with all you motherfuckers. The world sucks because you elect assholes to run your countries. You don't vote for anything good. You just, you're just such stupid shit. I can't believe how dumb you people are. This whole internet there should be basic resources that we are entitled to because we're human beings on Earth. It shouldn't be, I have to go beg from the corporation, please, please let me have free speech, please, please, please. Bullshit, that should be the way this world's being run. Bullshit. So you want a world where the muskies of the world can control a bunch of think tanks, they can force a bunch of propaganda into the environment and just make a bunch of assholes believe almost anything. That's the world you fucking voted, elected. That's the world you want. Fuck free speech, fuck free exposure, fuck fair exposure. Let some motherfucking turd buy Twitter and decide he's going to turn it into his own platform to spew his fucking lies and bullshit. What the fuck is that? That's America? And why would all these liberal people stay? Why would they keep their Twitter account? Why? Well, I'm going to go argue with Elon and make his company more money. Oh, God, it's so fucking dumb. Who are you referring to as idiots? Every fucking buddy on this planet except me, obviously. Even look, I have some very nice people who, defend me and defend what I'm saying and try to do their best. But frankly, okay, if I give them a test, I can find failure somewhere. They believe in some wooey crap, or they want to go do some silly ass thing or something, okay? So yes, unfortunately, everybody on this planet is is idiot, and I'm not. You're having the privilege of actually talking to the greatest mind that ever existed on planet Earth. I mean, you don't know it. Okay, you can't understand that because you're too fucking stupid to understand that. But the fact is, I've outdone Einstein. I did what Einstein couldn't do. I have figured out the sensible answer. Okay, it's an absolute fact. And it wasn't that hard to do because I did it. If I could do it, it couldn't have been that difficult. Okay, that's the truth. If I could do it, it couldn't have been that difficult, and I did it. Yeah, you can L all you want. It's not going to make my simulation go away. I've perfectly simulated the function of everything Maxwell talked about when it came to charge. Perfectly simulated it. Okay, with simple fucking rules. You're not going to make that go away. Your little LOL kind of crap, it's going to make it go away. Oh, well, Tesla was such an asshole. I mean, there's no point quoting Tesla. Oh, they're wearing their purple garb and talking their blah, blah, blah. And he was talking absolute shit. His musical theory of the universe. The asshole was trying to shoot lightning into the ground, for fuck's sake, and send it to France. I mean, he was a fucking moron. Oh, it's just amazing. Sorry, see, Mike, you're an idiot. Tesla, look, Tesla was, there's nothing wrong with his basic theory when it came to figuring out frequency and resonance. Okay, but all those are just mechanical theories. Resonance just means that there's a difference between hitting something when it's moving in the direction you're hitting it. You can add energy then. And hitting it when it's opposing. That's not going to work. Okay, that creates heat. So That's what Tesla figured out, okay? And it was great. And that's why he could amplify electricity. He could do lots of things because he took the heat out of it, right? So, yes, give him a trophy for that. But Tesla was a lunatic. I mean, like I said, he thought you could actually transmit a volume of electricity through the atmosphere and the ground, that somehow you could make an efficient conductor out of the atmosphere and the ground. And it was just ridiculous because everybody already knew that, no, there's a ton of friction. There's no way you can get the electricity. These are shitty conductors. There's no way you can do it. It's not going to happen. And he kept trying to make it happen. He, pissed away millions of dollars. Ended up making himself a pauper, a pauper, who had to live off the kindness of Westinghouse to survive. I mean, that's the irony. The companies he screwed ended up feeling sorry enough for him to, let him live the rest of his life in a hotel. But he was an idiot, a lunatic. He thought he was magical because he was, the day he was born, there was a lightning strike. He had all kinds of these silly religious dopey ideas. He was a very flawed character. Can we just agree on that? Michael Faraday was what you called the perfect scientist. He didn't say anything he didn't show to happen. He was like Newton. He took after Newton. He just did the experiments, and he did them over and over in all kinds of ways. I mean, Newton spent every day of his life imagining experiments and doing experiments. He polished his own lenses, for fuck's sake. He invented a telescope that was better than Galileo's. He did all this shit. Tesla didn't do shit. He put on shows, and wore fancy clothes. He was a clothes whore. Like I said, Faraday didn't have any woo physics, okay? I mean, Faraday just said, look, this is what I can make magnets do. And all of it is perfectly good experimental theory. So there wasn't anything extravagant in anything Faraday proposed. Now, Maxwell's interpretation, I could argue quite obviously that it's idiotic to say there's no magnetic monopoles when the electron and proton are sitting there and screaming to you, I'm a magnetic monopole. I mean, they're saying it as loud as they could possibly say it. What else could possibly be a magnetic monopole except for electrons and protons? They create dipoles. You put an electron next to a proton, you have a dipole. You have a magnet. Oh, you've got to be kidding. New Truth 137. Boy, you've got to be such a lying sack of shit. There's no way you understand Weinstein's theory. No fucking way. There's just no fucking way you do. I watched his lecture. There's nothing comprehensible in it. Not a single sentence of it is comprehensible. He doesn't talk about a single thing in any comprehensible context. He doesn't draw any image. It's just gobbledygook, mushy, mathematical, convoluted crap. How the fuck could you say he says anything about energy? Oh, it's just disgusting. The number of liars on this planet. I bet New Truth doesn't have a motherfucking thing published on his channel. Why don't you draw me a picture of Weinstein's theory of energy? What does an energy look like? Is it quantum bits like Einstein suggested? Or is it wavicles? Or is it vibrating strings? What the fuck is it? He didn't ask me if I've seen it. He says it debunks modern physics. It doesn't do a damn thing. He says it unifies energy. He's making claims, you fucktard. Gee, you are so dishonest. God damn it. He didn't just ask. Just asking would be, have you seen Eric Weinstein's theory? And then I would have answered, yes, and it's absolute shit. Nobody understands it. Nobody does. Sabina Hassenfelder couldn't even make anything out of it. Go ask the Mathematica guy to explain it. He can't make any sense out of it. Who the fuck understands his theory? Go direct me to the physicist who understands what Weinstein's talking about. Professor Dave can't understand it. I don't mean to, look, I don't want you people to, I really do appreciate the people who have supported me. It's just, and it's just that so many of them have gone sideways on me. You know what I mean? They support me for years and then they become this insane backstabber, and start, all kinds of crappy accusations. They go blow shit up. They go do all kinds of wacky goddamn shit. I mean, it's depressing, that I can't depend on any of you, frankly. I can't be sure you don't have a knife in the sheath ready to stab me in the back of the neck. And so that's my apprehension, and I shouldn't treat you all like that, but it's happened so many times now, I can't be bothered having any trust. I don't have any friends on the internet. It's just a fact. I don't have any friends. Because I really can't afford to invest in people. Because too many times they've destroyed me. I mean, it's crippled me. Yeah, well, I mean, they're all, somehow they get offended because I didn't kiss their ass properly, or say I love what they're doing or something, and all of a sudden I'm the fucking worst human being on earth, and I didn't do a goddamn thing. Besides speaking my honest mind, I have done nothing malicious to hurt anybody, to damage anybody, to cause anybody. I have never keyed anybody's car, so to speak. I've never put a banana peel in front of their house. I've never done anything to any way sabotage or in any way harm any other fucking human being in my whole fucking goddamn life. And it's just amazing that all these saboteurs show up at my door. Oh, god damn. Why? Because I'm an honest human being. No other reason. I offend them because I'm perfect. I say something like, "Look, I'm perfectly okay. You want to be a squirrel? It's okay with me. You don't like being a girl. You want to be a man? Fine. You don't like being a man. You want to be a girl? I don't care. Fine. I'm all for you having all the rights in the world. But when you start saying, okay, that I have to pay for your fursuit, or some other you're allowed to go, pull your dick out in the ladies' room. Well, yeah, I'm going to say I don't think that's right. I think it's that's fucked up. And now all of a sudden I've offended all of them, and they all have to come and get me. I mean, you can't say something like, I got no use for black culture. Ah, you're a racist! No, I don't like rap music. I don't like it played too loud in my face. I don't think their dress code makes any sense at all. I can't understand any of it. And I'd really like for people to speak fucking goddamn English. Is that a terrible thing for me to say? I would like to be able to communicate with other people on this planet. And I can't do that if they're speaking their own personal language. I mean, do you really think going, what's up? You really think that's genetic? Gee, that's a black thing? No. It's ridiculous. It's a cultural pile of shit. It's like some British guy wearing his little button-up uniform and buttoning the top button and saying, well, we all have to be really proper and we have to do all this stuff because we're genetically obligated. That's what white people in England have to do. Yes. Is be a pretentious douchebag. No! It's retarded, silly cultural habit. Fuck it in the ass till dead. I have no obligation to respect cultural crap. Well, the fact is these liberals are just as tyrannical fascist motherfuckers when you give them power. And that's what it's turned out to be. We have to speak their truth. Muslims aren't, well, Islam isn't a gutter religion. No, it's some kind of thing we all have to respect. Child molesting and, segregation of women. Yeah, we have to respect that. Fuck that. I don't have to respect that retarded shit. So anyway, off the subject. Really don't want to ruin the physics with political. But the fact is, it's all connected. The reason why people have a bias against a change in their physics is because they are religious kooks. They believe that, Luke Skywalker is going to show up in his whatever fighter, and he's going to have Yoda in the back seat, and blah 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 blah. They believe in some fantasy fucking bullshit that's going to happen in the future because they don't understand that it's a crude universe of crude forces, and they're unyieldingly crude. You're not going to oblige the universe to satisfy your silly delusions. But the fact of the matter is that the scientists are really religious kooks. All these people claiming to be atheists, they're not real atheists. They all have some kind of wooey fucking crap going on in their heads, thinking the universe is gonna, turn into some sparkly, glitter-covered unicorn that they're gonna ride or have sex with or something. All you're going to do is live a miserable life, tediously fighting and struggling for a little bit of fairness, and then you're going to horribly die. And that's all that's going to happen on this fucking planet. If you're a decent person, you are fucking doomed. This is my day. Every day, I just, fiddle with my flowers, do maintenance, homeowner maintenance, and contemplate these are very arguments I'm arguing in this room. I spend all of my time solving problems. Yeah, so look, you're outing yourself, okay? Whatever, marked up cyborg. So that's the best you can do? Smoking meth? That's it? I mean, a 1941 internet insult? You couldn't do anything original? Why don't you say, well, did you take your medication? Why, you know, you're just outing yourself as exactly the problem. This is exactly what's wrong with planet Earth, is scum like you is allowed on the internet at all. Because you don't have anything honest to offer. You don't have any argument to make. You're just a shit talking exactly what you claim me to be. Some video game player. You know. I'm kind of into dahlias now, frankly. I have I have 2,000 petunias growing, you know, but yeah, dahlias are interesting. So I've been fiddling with them for the last 2 years, and I'd like to really, you know, have a couple of thousand dahlias, but we'll see, you know, where I'll go. But yeah, there's all the standbys. There's marigolds, you know, lots of stairs, you know, stuff you plant because it's reliable, and you know. But obviously I also plant beets and tomatoes and cucumbers so I can eat all summer for free. Yeah, whatever. You just keep talking your shit, okay? I don't care. You know, I'm just saying you're demonstrating right to the audience, okay, that's exactly what I'm talking about. You don't have any real argument to make. You're just a shit talker. So we get that. So you're just going to sit there and distract. You're just a noisemaker. So you're just walking into the science room and you're just going, blah, 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 blah. I'm a stinky baby. I have to scream and yell and make noise. So yeah, okay. You can disrupt something. That's all you are. That's all your use. You have no other use in this planet. You're just a disruptive, stinky pile of shit. So bravo. I would tell the future, find this guy and piss on his grave. I'm just saying, you know, if I'm right, and I have done what Einstein couldn't do, I think I'm entitled to you recognizing that you owe me something. So find this guy and piss on his grave, okay? Please. Everybody. Like, you know, something everybody does, like going to Mecca. We all should go to the shithole where all the jackasses are dumped that the earth didn't need. The garbage humans for which they have no value. Can't do anything, can't build anything, can only throw hammers. Uselessly weak, you know, faggoty, sissy creepoids. No balls, no manliness at all. And we should piss and shit on their graves. Yeah, you can be in a grave. Don't worry about it. I hope you get what you deserve, which is a really lousy death. Yeah, why don't you go troll what is it, the pink salt thing? Yeah, why don't you go troll pink salt? Go do the world a favor and troll something that deserves to be trolled. Pink salt. Oh, well, whatever. Just fuck off. But don't. Go ahead. Just, I don't care. Like I said, you're just proving my point. That, you know, you weak-minded people can't win an argument in any kind of honest way. All you can do is make noise. All you can do is break things. You'll create nothing. You are the definition of wasted neurons. Your mother should be kicked in the cunt. So, at any rate, we made a room out of this. So, 3 participants, but, what the hell? It wasn't without any merit. You're proving mind. Weak-minded people use slurs about other people's lifestyles. What slur did I use? Come on, explain it to everybody. Explain what I'm bigoted about. Go ahead. I don't think women should be bought and sold, especially underage women. Is that maybe a bigot? I think civilization needs care and feeding. That civilization doesn't thrive if you allow everything, there to be no standards, where you can just shoplift if you feel like it. There's no due process, there's no equal process. You have to have some will to preserve civilization, or you won't have it. Well, it is gay science. I mean, in a lot of respects, it's incredibly gay. You have to admit that, the testosterone level of physicists is about as low as you can get, right? There's not too many of them that reek of any kind of maleness. And some of them are just overtly factually gay, but, and a lot of them are chauvinists. A lot of, Professor Lewin got caught, stealing the underage goodies. The other guy got caught, with all the, chicanery and bullshit. I mean, so there's lots of character defects, obviously, that do exist in physicists. I don't waste my time trying to figure out if I like my way of life. The fact is, I was born nauseous. Just the smell of humans made me sick. So I'm like Mr. Smith in The Matrix. Everything about you people makes me want to vomit. And so I've spent 65 years being nauseated by living with creatures I find disgustingly repugnant. That's the truth. I really haven't had a good day, a purely great day, in my life. I mean, I definitely had better days, so don't get me wrong. I had pretty good days, let me put it that way. But the fact is, most days aren't good days. And that was true before I did physics. Well, obviously, I think Jordan Peterson is the dumbest tool, imaginable. He could be, there's lots of people to compare him to and say, gee, how stupid is this moron? But obviously, he's just a defender of the cruelest of traditions. I mean, to think he's entitled to torture animals, you know, because he has a medical condition, is disgusting. He thinks he's worth it. I don't know why you would say it's an odd choice. I mean, it's just stupid. I mean, clearly, what am I doing on this live stream? I'm making arguments. So you don't think the arguments matter. The truth doesn't matter. Nobody should argue for the truth. And I'm trying to tell you, well, that's the whole definition of this preserving culture thing, is that the truth has to win. The white hats have to win. And the only way the white hats win is if they put on their white hat and make the argument. They have to show up, you know, in their long ranger suit and with their silver guns and go, I'm going to stop bad. So that's what I've done my whole life, is I've opposed evil and stupid and wrong. I've helped old ladies across the street. I do things to help people who are being maligned and mistreated. I did it as a kid, got beat up for it. So I don't need any life lessons from you, fucktard. If they were to make the movie It's a Wonderful Life out of my life, I'm just saying you wouldn't find any liabilities existing. That all I ever did was help. Just saying. Let's see, you choose to spend your time talking to people. No, I choose to make arguments. So again, you don't get that part, right? Where am I talking to any of you assholes? You know, I'm clearly arguing against you. So again, you don't understand what's at stake. The truth is at stake. So nobody should fight for evolution. We should just forget it as a theory because most people don't want to believe it. Right? The majority of human beings don't want to believe it. So we should just let it stand that way. Let religion win. I mean, you're such gutless pieces of shit. Yeah, so I'm just saying there's some videos I make where I'm very nice and I try to, I try to just make you understand, people understand, well, look, you can dislike me, I'm harsh, I'm this, I'm that. Just forget about that bullshit because if you're a smart person, you know the messenger doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is the message. So let's understand, I'm defending the kittens, I'm defending all the helpless things, all the things abused, all the things that'll pay the price for people's recklessness. I'm trying to protect them. I'm trying to get you a liberal right to die. I'm trying to get you, the freedom to think and say what you believe. I'm trying to protect your rights. I'm trying to fight for a better world. All right. And yeah, I can try to make you understand that, but I really shouldn't even have to, right? Do I really have to explain it's not about the messenger? It's not about how sick you make the messenger? That's not relevant either. It's about the fucking message, moron. That's what the room is trying to be devoted to, and you fucktards just keep running from that subject. Scientists are lying idiots. That's the subject. Look, the argument is the insult. Do you really think it could possibly make a difference? Do you think that I just got on the internet and started insulting people? No, I'm insulting people because of this crap. You're not making any counter arguments. You're not even on the fucking subject. So why the fuck should I be anything other than pissed off? I want to talk physics. Do any of you want to do that? No, because you're not even capable of doing it. You just talk your shit, and you just don't have any will whatsoever to stay on the fucking subject. Yeah, the point is there's no fucking strategy here, about, oh, what's the perfect way to migrate morons into being reasonable intellectuals? Oh, well, I guess 15 years of education. Oh, well, I can't afford 15 years of re-education. I can't do a deprogramming. So I'm arguing that now probably the safest bet is for me just to keep drawing straight lines, to keep pointing, pushing. And that's the only way it's going to get done, is somebody has to just push. It's a push-averse. Push works. Push makes things happen. Well, I'm just, so again, you just keep lying to the audience here. Obviously, I'm not the one who changed the topic. If we took a vote of the people in this room and we said, how many people in this room think Gary would like to talk about physics? Do you think you're going to win? As the participants are pointing out, they can't talk about physics because they don't know anything about it. That's the problem. So this isn't a very useful audience. That's why I'm trying to bribe real physicists into engaging in this conversation, but they won't do it because they're all stinking, lousy cowards that you applaud and reward for being cowards. Again, there's a bunch of channels debunking flat Earth when you know that most of the flat earthers are mentally ill. It's just an absolute fact. And they're out there buffooning mentally ill people. And now you're complaining because I'm too rude? They're out there making money exploiting retarded people. And you're saying there's some defect in my personality? Hilarious. I'm just saying, like I said, if somebody could demonstrate to me that the strategy is for me to put on a Mr. Rogers sweater and do welcome to my neighborhood videos to try to seduce people to, there's this concept in physics, this gravity thing, and it's like things are flying into the earth, and well, you haven't done any study, right? So you don't know anything about this subject, so I have to start right at the beginning, You don't even understand that they're arguing that there's this bent geodesical thing, and it's made out of, this thing called space-time, which isn't a physical thing, and the non-physical thing is making the physical things move, sort of like if they were pushed, but they weren't pushed by anything, and there's no energy going into pushing them, but they're pushed nonetheless. I mean, they're moving just like they were pushed, but they weren't pushed, you see. Yeah, okay, I could do that, but I don't think I want to. Yeah, I don't think I want to. I mean, why not try if 10 years of it? No, you're lying again, okay? It's not 10 years of this method. I started out being really quite nice. And I found this is incredible. I have done something incredible. I did something really great. And I went on the internet to say, look, I did something really great. And all I got was this shit from people. And so I'm a byproduct of you. You're the ones that drove me to having an absolute contempt. Okay? Because you can't. You can't make a counter argument. You just keep defending absolute nonsense. You won't admit it's nonsense, right? I haven't gotten one person in this fucking stream to admit, I've never seen it take 25 times the fuel to move something 5 times as fast. Just say the words. You've never seen it ever take 25 times the fuel to move something 5 times as fast. Just say the words, and once you say them, then maybe you'll realize, well, why is science telling me it's the truth? No, you won't bother. Let's see. I'm not trying to do that. Over emotions, pretty sure you could deduce that from my previous chat message, or at least it's too simple for you. Whatever that mush was. I just got here. What do you mean you just got here? I don't know what that means. Alright. There's just no point in try to understand what people are typing. It's impossible. Yeah, so why are you wasting time? So you just keep doing it. So fuck you. I won't bother reading the rest of your comment because, yes, you're off the subject. I try to get back on the subject. You want to keep distracting, so fuck that. Alright, yes he is. Go troll somebody who's evil. Yeah, there you go. That's all that needs to be said. It's already been said, okay? The fact is, he's not going to answer he's not going to say the simple phrase. Just admit, okay, whatever you're marked up, cyborg, just admit you've never seen it take 25 times the fuel to move something 5 times as fast. Just admit the truth. So again, I'm on the physics and he's off the physics again. What you're saying to me is irrelevant. You're not saying anything on the subject. So the subject is the credibility of physics. That's the subject. So you politely make some comment about how the physics is credible. So defend it. I'm giving you a perfect opportunity. I'm saying, look, their claim is it takes 25 times the fuel to make something go 5 times as fast. So have you ever seen that happen on planet Earth? Well, that's just another lie, right? I mean, I've done plenty of physics arguments while you were in the room, so that's just more lying by you. Yeah, I don't know. So what's the point of this wacky crap? What exactly is the wacky part? I mean, just go to the website and just point out the wacky part, please. Just point it out, something that you think is in the category of wacky. Some sentence I wrote that's wacky. Can you do that? So what? Imbecilic question. Can you not do math? Yeah, MV equals MV. Yeah, I can do that math. MV does not equal 1/2 MV squared, okay? So energy equals MV. A mass moving is the definition of energy. And the fact is, the forces moving the speed of light carry momentum. They have a mass. And all they can do is, like Sisyphus, they can share their momentum with an object, a boulder, like an electron. And that's all that's happening in this reality. There's nothing else happening. The only universe that's real is bits of force hitting and sticking or reflecting off of electrons and protons. There's no other universe. That's the only real one. That's the only elementally real universe. That's the only place there's any laws. That's the only place there's any rules. And everything else that happens, no matter how wacky it is, electrons and protons had to do it first. Every single event is a byproduct of the interaction between force and electrons and protons. That's an I'm arguing you could bet your house that's the reality. That's the truth the future will know if the white hats can win the war. That's the right answer. That's the theory of everything. It's just electrons and protons being pushed by force. Let's see, we got anything decent here? What would be the first thing you counter-argue in a debate? What the fuck is this point? No, I have them listed on my website. I have charge first because, frankly, that's the biggie. Charge creates all the nuance of electrons and protons. The very idea that electrons and protons behave exactly oppositely is explained, and so that's the most important subject in a sense. Bent space or velocity squared or something like the double slit experiment. Well, like I said, they're in that order. So charge is first because it's the most elemental function. It deals with force and electrons and protons. That's the only real universe. So that's first. Okay, then the second subject is gravity. And then the third subject is kinetic energy. And then the fourth subject is photons, the double slit. What's the first time I've heard you say that phrase since I've been here? I don't know what that means. I give you 10-10 on trolling, whatever. I don't know why you're giving him anything but the finger. Just give him the finger. Get what you fucking deserve, scumhole. You called one of my comments here where I asked the troll why he's wasting time insulting and mend him foolish. That's fine though. I'm saying if you're going to argue with the troll, that's called feeding the trolls, blah, 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 blah. So I'm just saying, I don't know if that's productive. But okay, go ahead. I'm not stopping you. Fact is that naysayers here don't have any coherent debunk of your physics or any other positions. Well, I'm just saying, look, the problem is that no one will do what I'm requesting, which is admit the truth. And then just say it to Science Asylum. I mean, you could post a comment on his channel saying, I've never seen it take 25 times the fuel to move something 5 times as fast. Could you explain why I've never seen that in this material universe? It must happen. Your physics says it must happen. So go ahead and show me it happening. I mean, it's not too much to ask. I'm just saying that the proof is so obvious, right? I mean, the law of the lever, balances. I showed the balance working. I mean, there's no way to believe in 1/2 mv squared and be an honest person. There's no way to look at the evidence and believe in it, because the evidence decidedly says it's fake. The rocket ship, for example. I mean, fuck's sake, right? The rocket sitting here. Now, whether I throw things out or I shoot an exhaust, it doesn't matter. The only thing that's going to move the ship is the momentum of whatever leaves the ship. So whatever I do, if I have a fuel exhaust that I set fire to, it doesn't matter what I do. All that's going to matter is the mass and velocity of whatever leaves. And that's what's going to move the spaceship. So if I calculate the kinetic energy of the exhaust, it'll be of no value, because the kinetic energy can't do any work on the spaceship. It'll do 0 work on the spaceship. It'll produce 0 work in the world, in the universe. How the fuck can you believe in a theory that's claimed to be the definition of work, kinetic energy, that is energy that can do work, when it can't do any work? How the fuck can you believe in that? Yeah, well, why would you know? So again, you're just being insulting. Again, you're just proving you just showed up here to be insulting. Of course, if somebody could prove me wrong, that's what I've been begging for. I've been asking people, look, I'll pay somebody to do the experiments. I'll pay for it to prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Show me an experiment where it takes 25 times the fuel to make something go 5 times faster. Show me that experiment and I'm done talking. Oh, just amazing. This shit these people write. Oh, God, people are just such scum, right? And how many times now have I asked one of these naysayers, one of these people, this deviant character, just admit you've never seen it take 25 times the fuel to move something 5 times as fast. Can't you just admit that you've never seen that? I don't even know what that means. Maybe you could explain the 25 times the fuel thing. What do you mean? What do I have to explain? It's imbecilic. It's silly. It's nonsense. Twice the velocity is not 4 times the energy. 3 times the velocity is not 9 times the energy. 4 times the velocity is not 16 times the energy. It just doesn't happen. It's not true. Well, again, if you don't know about the claim, it's really, like I said, I didn't ask you to do anything but merely state that you personally can't testify that you've ever seen it take 25 times the fuel to spin anything 5 times as fast, that you've never seen that happen. You can't just say the words. So again, this nothing question from this Evan, whatever that is, Dupro. So he's done this like 3 or 4 times where he just makes this open accusation in the form of a satirical question. I mean, what's the point, asshole? How exactly, what's your understanding of gravity and atmosphere? What the fuck? What have I said about the atmosphere that proves that I said something wrong about how the atmosphere is held to the earth by gravity? Where did I say anything other? And how is the atmosphere relevant to this conversation? We're talking about bent space. You're saying bent space creates this motion, whether it's in the atmosphere. Look, I placed something in the atmosphere. Here it is. I placed it here, and now I let go of it and it falls. It had no momentum, and then it reaches my hand with a bunch of momentum. Bent space made the momentum. Now, the argument is, do you understand that you can't destroy that momentum? You have to conserve it. That it's always going to go somewhere. It's going to hit my hand, and then it goes into my hand, goes into my arm, goes into the ground. When it goes into the ground, it keeps going into the ground. It just keeps doing it. You do understand that, right? So how does that motion, that MV, how does it leave the Earth? The obvious answer is heat. There's no other answer. It has to leave as heat. There's no other way it can leave. So obviously, gravity heats the Earth. You don't have to do experiments. You've driven a car, right? You've never heard anybody say, gee, I went 50 miles an hour and it cost me 25 times the fuel. I was using 25 times the gasoline. Whew, what a heavy hit I took. Can you admit you never heard somebody complain about how much gasoline they lost when they went a little bit faster? Look, I don't care what you're here for, cyborg guy, okay? It's clear to me, it's clear to, in my opinion, to a reasonable observer that you've been nothing but disruptive. You didn't want to make any kind of constructive contribution. You just made a bunch of negative accusations. That's what you did. You came into the room to troll. You successfully trolled the room. I've made my point to you that I think you are the definition of an asshole. I think you're human garbage. I think the human race would be a huge benefit to humanity if you never existed, okay, because you're just you're a piece of garbage. You can't be of value to anybody on this planet. I bet you nobody could possibly love you because you're a piece of garbage. You have no integrity as a human being. You have no dignity, no honesty. You live to be a mess maker. You're just a thing that shits. And that's all you do. A frequently cited paper that provides experimental data on this topic is... where the hell's that? What are you talking about? The frequently cited papers say that the Earth is hot because of uranium decay and because it stored 4 billion year old meteor impacts. So 400 billion year old heat is somehow stuck inside the conductive Earth. Okay, all of the matter the Earth is made out of is conductive. None of it's an insulator. None of it can insulate heat perfectly. So there's absolutely no way 4 billion year old heat is stored in the Earth. You're just talking shit. Yeah, go ahead, provide a link. Email me the link, okay? My email address is right underneath the video. Send me your information, liar. Okay, but take responsibility for it. Take responsibility for the time my time you're gonna waste, because it's garbage. But please send it to me. I'll do a public video showing whatever it is you're gonna send me, and I'll prove it's crap. Please review this paper on stream. Why would I do it on a stream, you retard? No, I'm going to read the paper. I'm not going to sit there and try to do it in a live stream. I'm going to sit here and read a paper in a live stream, you fucking idiot. God, can't you people be a little bit realistic? Just a tiny bit reasonable? Oh, god damn. So what would I have to pay you to send it to me, to email me your information? Can you handle this project? Email me the fucking link that you think proves something. So what? Oh, here it is. Fuel consumption and emission models by road gradient for light-duty diesel vehicles. And where in that do you think it's going to prove that you use 25 times the fuel? Wait, do you actually think it's going to be in there anywhere? You retard. I mean, for trucks, the gains, the efficiency of going faster is even better for trucks. So trucks, probably it is 4 times the energy. 4 times the energy to go 5 times as fast. Because trucks get more and more efficient the higher gear ratio you have, and the friction gets better and better on the wheel track. So you're just such a fucking liar. Pay me to do what? I'll bet you, okay, I'll bet you $500 that link doesn't say a goddamn thing on this subject. You will take the bet? Email me your documentation, motherfucker. Yeah, okay, you're a liar. You're not going to show up with the money. I've already stated I'm perfectly willing to do the video. I'm going to go to the fucking goddamn page that you won't even provide a link to, actually. And the fact is, it'll have absolutely nothing to do with this fucking subject. Nothing. We've already seen this, fucker. You know, they do this break thing, right? So they have all this breaking analysis, and then you find out none of it's real. They've all done it by simulation. Okay, so they put their formula in, and the formula tells them the result. They never actually tested it with cars on the actual highway. And that was already proven years ago when, what's his name, did the research. Toady? I call him Toady. Yeah, his name was actually something like Toady. Anyway, because he researched and tried to find where they actually did the experiment. And the fact is, nobody's actually done the experiments. So it's like the Mythbusters crashing the cars. Nobody's actually done these experiments. It's just amazing. I mean, you're just looking at this title, and it talks about a gradient, and somehow, an automobile coasting isn't the subject, idiot. So this really doesn't have to do with a gradient. It has to do with how much energy it takes, okay, to move a car on a flat surface at twice the velocity. Or 3 times the velocity, or 4 times the velocity. Of course I'm angry. What is not to be angry about? I mean, these fakers defending lies. I mean, we've been down this road so many times. I point out how, NASA had never done the Eddington experiment. They've had cameras in space for 50 years. They've never even tried it, we're supposed to believe. They've never even tried the Eddington experiment. You never need an eclipse. You can do it any time of day. It's the easiest. 5 minutes is all it takes. They've never tried? You believe that? But I mean, you bring up this stuff, and they bring up some fake, phony analysis. Like I said, you talk about the thrust, and then they'll talk about, well, here's a NASA paper stating blah, blah, blah. And you find out, well, yeah, the paper's just stating like they're making up the number. They're just saying the fuel has 568 million joules in it. And why do they say that? Oh, it's because they have a formula that says so. There's 400 times better seeing from space. Do you understand that simple principle? And so there was an experiment done called the Eddington experiment. Albert Einstein was proven right with this experiment. Now the absolute fact is the experiment is 400 times easier to do from space. And you don't need an eclipse. So besides the viewing being 400 times more superior, you don't need an eclipse. And this is an experiment that's never been successfully repeated from Earth outside the margin of error. So it's really kind of important if you believe in that whole, do the experiment more than once thing. If you believe in repeatable experimentation, and you believe that, that makes credible science, well, then you should be conceding that, gee, that's a really important experiment and they should do it, especially when it only costs $5. And the fact is, it only costs $5. What are you saying? What's their motive? Their motive is the same motive that has all the physicists running from these arguments. Their motive is that they can't admit they're wrong. They have to admit they've fooled themselves for 200 years. For 200 years they've talked absolute shit. You think they can admit that? So in the Einstein case, they can't admit that, oh, we should have never jumped on this silly boat. And the fact is look, all they're going to say is, well, yeah, we tried it and we didn't get any results. And so instead of saying, Well, the fact is we proved there's no bending. They can't say that. But that's the fact. The fact is you can't bend light. You can't bend a force with a force. Forces can only be scattered by matter. You can't bend a force. Oh, where's this frequently admit they're wrong? They have to be dragged to the wrong court. They have to be outed. So what is a way better experiment than the Eddington experiment? Just explain to me the better experiment. So let's understand. Eddington experiment is an image experiment. You get real image data. You actually see an object distorted. Radio waves, no object. So you can't tell the difference between scatter caused by electrons and protons and a gravity bent image. The two images are exactly the same. That is, they're not images. They're just a number of photons. So you can't tell scatter from the actual gravitational data. Only gravity can, theoretically, could move the image coherently. So any other experiment using something besides light and in the visible range won't be able to make a distinction between scatter. Like if I use radio waves, the fact is I can't make an image out of the radio waves. So I can't use radio waves sent through over the surface of a planet and say, oh, there, I saw bending. Because scatter will create the same effect. Scatter will create bending to every single location. So anywhere I put my detector, I will receive a scattered image. Okay, an image implying bending. But it's not bent, it's scattered. So I'm just saying, you tell me what the better experiment is, you liar. So go ahead, you email me, okay, pro guy, email me the Hubble image of gravitational lensing that you claim has credibility. That is, that it's mathematically irrational by Einstein's own theory and Einstein's own words. Einstein knew, right, that you would never see you'd never see an Einstein ring because he knew that gravity bends light more the closer you are to the object. And a lens does exactly the opposite. It bends the light more on the outside and less on the inside. So gravity doesn't work as a magnifying lens because it bends the light less as you go further out and more as you go in. So it's exactly the opposite of a magnifying lens. And so Einstein knew that if you were to get an Einstein ring, it would be so thin that there wouldn't be enough photons in it for you to see it. So are you saying Einstein was wrong? No, Einstein was perfectly correct because Einstein knew better the truth than you obviously do, you people do. But obviously every one of those gravitationally lensed images is mathematical shit. They're never symmetrical. They're wobbly all over the place. They have image data. That is, whole galaxies are imaged in the wrong location, which can't happen. Okay, it's impossible to turn the image this way. Okay, that's impossible through bending. But I mean, none of them can be defended mathematically because of their lack of symmetry. Gravity strong enough to bend light is symmetrical. It has symmetry. It can't make an uneven curve. It has to make a sphere. It can't make any other curved line. I mean, the argument's just so obvious. I mean, this whole inverse square law just gives it away too, right? The further away you are from a gravitational body, it's by the inverse square law. So even if you were a photon traveling by a galaxy, and you traveled by it this huge distance this way, the distance this way is the one that's getting thinner and thinner. So this way you've lost all photons because they're all spread out so thin that you're not going to get any. So it just can't work. Oh, another drug comment. Oh, you're just so clever. It's probably coming from some kind of pothead who plays video games all day. It's just hilarious. The duplicity of these people. Alright, well, I guess we'll call that enough. Because it's not going anywhere. You're not going to respond to any of these arguments. And again, you can't because you're not prepared to. So, I mean, that's a big defect in these live rooms. That's why I would prefer to have a debate with a physicist. So, if you can find a physicist with a balls, that can make a counter argument, I'd appreciate it. But it's unlikely because they are a bunch of weak girly men. Yeah, that's what they are. Anyway, let's see. Deflect everything with bullshit. Well, that's saying nothing. You are the one not responding, so that's a big lie. And deflecting. Where did I deflect? I've made clear accusations. Okay, very clear statements. Again, Eddington said in his own journal, I got 10% of the data quality. Everything went wrong, and I wouldn't stake my life on this experiment. And yet, the New York Times posts a headline: Einstein proven right. You think that's good science? I think that's crap science. That's the simple accusation. You're defending what I would argue is just the definition of shitty science. When bad experiments are celebrated and lied about and claimed to be pristine and perfect, that's not science. That's religion. That's propaganda. Of course, I do it every day. Yes, you fucking asshole. Alright, so whatever. So you stopped looking at science. And so again, a liar. It's just such a useless comment. I'm the one telling you the truth. You're the one defending lies. Do you understand who Leibniz was? Do you understand that the inventor of 1/2 mv squared, the inventor of mv squared, tried to get Newton imprisoned? I mean, he tried to tell the emperors, the king, to have him censored, to have him shut the fuck up. That's the guy you're defending as a good scientist. Well, you're just such a liar. Yeah, fuck you. I mean, you really get what you deserve, even do pro. Okay, you're a liar. You're a sack of shit. And again, I will review your document and prove you to be a liar, and you'll owe me $500 fucking dollars, you fucking piece of shit. And such. So enough of that. All right, yeah, I probably could do this another hour, but fuck it. The audience is stale and fuck it. Yeah, it's not going anywhere. just shit talkers. And so in the future I'll figure out how to block people, I guess, because yeah, they're just time wasters. Need people that can make physics arguments and such. Alright, going to hit the end stream button. So anyways, fun experiment anyway. It's been a while. Reminds me of the good old days in a way, so that was nice. But again, it went all bad. So, but that's how it always was, right? Old Stickham was just, 8 hours of argument, just 8 fucking hours of inane bullshit. And I sure as hell have paid my dues. That's all I can say. Done my part. Make reasonable arguments and get absolute shitty, crappy nonsense from the fabulists, we'll call them. The fabulists.